What's up YouTube? Welcome to Tank Control Games, back with another Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to use image media sources, media players, and MegaLights to create dynamic animated lighting and screen effects. We'll be applying those concepts to build this CRT TV actor that can play any video you want, with the screen actually casting light and reflections onto the environment. This is the same technique I used in my Haunted Mansion scene last October, and it opens up a ton of possibilities for things like TVs, holograms, ghost effects, and more. If that sounds cool to you, stick around, this is going to be a fun one, so let's jump right into it. First, go ahead and download this free CRT model from Sketchfab. I brought mine into Maya and separated the screen into its own mesh, so it's easier to play image sequences directly onto it. Then I created a first-person template project in Unreal 5.7 and imported the model and all of its textures into the project. Next, you'll need some videos to display on your TV. I used gameplay recordings from some of my favorite N64 games, then ran them through Premiere Pro with some effects applied on them to give them more of a CRT TV look. After that, I exported them as JPEG image sequences and saved them into a folder on my desktop. Also, if your video includes audio, export that separately as a .wav file and we'll hook that up later so that it plays in sync with the screen. Back in Unreal, the first thing we want to do is make sure MegaLights is enabled in our project, so let's go to Edit, Project Settings, then search for MegaLights, and just make sure that that's checked. Next, we're going to make a few files, so let's go to the Content drawer and then right-click, and then we're going to go under where it says Media here, and we're going to find Image Media Source. Then let's call that IMS_screen, and then give it something descriptive of whatever the video you're playing is. So in my case, it's a video from Mario 64, so I'm just going to call it Mario 64. Then you can double click that file open, and then where it says sequence path, we're going to click the three dots, and then we're going to navigate to wherever we saved our video. And then I have a bunch of different videos, but I'm going to use my Mario 64 video for the example. So you just click the first image in the sequence, and then click open. Then you can save your IMS file. Then I'm going to click import, and I'm just going to also import the audio for the N64 video. And then in my case, I want it to loop, so I'm also going to click on the audio and then find looping and just make sure that that's checked. Okay, now I'm going to create a media player. So if we go to the same media section, we'll find media player, click it. It'll ask you if you want additional assets to create and link to the media player. And we do want a video output media texture asset, so just check that and click OK. So you'll see that'll make a media player as well as this media texture. And I clicked it before I could rename it, so it would have renamed the media texture as well, but we'll just manually do it. So we'll say MP for the media player _screen _ Mario 64. And then for the media texture, we're just going to call that MT _screen _ Mario 64. And if we click our media player, right now we only have the IMS we created for Mario 64, but if you have multiple ones, it'll have all of the ones you created. And then just double click the one you want to use for the media player, and you'll see your video actually play on screen. So we're just going to save that. And then if we go to our media texture that was automatically generated, you'll see it's already pointing to our MP _screen Mario 64, so that's perfect. Okay, so now let's make a new material. So we'll right click, do material, and then call it M_screen _ master. And this will be the base material for all of our screens. So let's double click that open. And then when you have M screen master selected, that node, just go to blend mode and just set that to masked. Then the first thing we can do is right click and get a texture sample. And then let's right click on that node and do convert to parameter and call it screen image sequence. And then with that node selected, let's select our MT _screen Mario. And then we'll hook up the RGB to the base color. And then we also want to drag off of RGB and get a multiply node, and then press 1 on the keyboard to get a constant. Right click that and do convert to parameter and just call that emissive strength. And let's give that a default of like 5 or 6. And then hook that up to the B, and then plug the output of multiply into emissive color. Then you can take the alpha from our screen image sequence and plug that into opacity mask. Then the last thing I had to do for this particular video was scale it so that it fit properly on the screen. If you're using the same screen that I provided in the download description, you may or may not have to scale the tiles a bit. So what we can do is get a texture coordinate node, hook that up to the UVs. And then for me, what worked with this particular video was on V tiling doing 1.3. But you might have to mess around with those values to find what works. So now we're going to save this material. And let's set up our blueprint for our CRT TV. So go back to your content drawer, right click, do new blueprint class, do actor, and we'll just call this BP _CRT TV. So let's double click the actor open, and then let's go to our components tab and do add, and let's add 2 static meshes. And let's call the first one screen mesh, and then I'll just duplicate that and I'll make the second one TV mesh. Then we also want to add and do a rect light, and we'll just call that screen light. Okay, so for the screen mesh, just find your imported SM CRT screen, and then for the TV mesh, just gonna find the CRT TV one. Okay, then what I would do is find where your screen mesh is, and you might have to pull it out slightly so that it's in front of the actual mesh of the TV, so somewhere like that. And then what you can do is take your screen light and just reposition this as well. So if you see here, if we rotate it that way, the light is facing this direction, so we'll keep it facing out. Then let's scale in our source width and source height just to something that's closer to the actual screen. So I think before I found 37 for width worked pretty well, and 32 for height. And then for barn door angle, I'm just going to do 0. And then for barn door length, I'll scale that into something like 5 is pretty good. And I'm just going to move this a little closer to the front of the screen. And we may end up wanting to angle this down slightly just so more of the light shines on the surface of wherever we're sitting the TV. Okay, cool. So the next thing we want to do is go to event begin play, and then let's get a sequence node. And then instead of the 2 here, let's just add a few more. So we have 5 outputs, and then let's hook up our begin play. And then the first thing we can do is grab our screen light, pull it into the graph, and then let's do set visibility to on. And then what we can do is select our screen light, go to the details panel, and just search visibility. And let's just have it off by default so that it has to turn on begin play, and then we're replacing the actors in the screen. It's not distracting that the light's always on. Okay, so then we're gonna drag screen light out into our graph again, and then we're gonna get set source texture. And this is gonna allow us to actually cast the colors that we're seeing on screen and kind of project them onto the ground from our light. So this is pretty cool. It makes it a lot more realistic. Then what we can do is drag off the new value, and let's just promote that to a variable. And we're just going to call that source light texture. And we'll hook that up like that. And then for your source light texture default, let's just set that to the only empty that we have, so empty screen Mario. Then let's create a variable, and we're just going to make one for should play sound, because you may not always want the sound to play with certain videos, and drag that into the scene. And then let's get a branch. So if you are going to play the sound, which we'll just have it set to true by default, so you can turn it off as needed. What we're going to do is get spawn sound at location, and then for the location, let's get self, get actor location, and then for the sound, let's make that a variable. And we'll just rename that to screen sound. And then if you imported your audio earlier, you just can find a underscore. For me, it was a screen Mario, and it could just be whatever you named yours. So just select that as the default so it has something to play, and then hook that up to true. And if you drop down the settings on this node, you'll see a section for attenuation settings. And this basically just means how close to this location you have to be to hear the sound. So we actually do want to create some settings for this. So let's go back to our content drawer, right click, and then search for sound attenuation. And then let's do SA underscore screen, double click it open. And then where it says inner radius, let's do something like 100, and then outer radius or fall off distance, let's do 500. Okay, then just save that file, and we'll go back to our CRT TV, and then under attenuation settings, we're just gonna find our SA screen. So that looks good. Next, what we're gonna do is get our screen mesh, and then drag off and do create dynamic material instance. And then element index can stay at 0. And then for the source material, let's promote that to a variable. And we'll just call that screen material and do compile. And then let's find our M screen master that we made. Okay, then let's just hook that up. And the very last thing we're gonna do here is we're going to get a node called open source. And if you don't see it, uncheck context sensitive, and then it should be under media, media player, open source. Then drag off target, let's do promote to variable, and we'll call that media player. And then drag off a media source, do promote to variable, and we'll just keep that as media source. What we can do for that, it's just gonna be the media player we created at the start, so MP screen Mario 64, and then under media source, IMS screen Mario 64. Okay, so that's good defaults for all these variables. The last thing we can do is check the eye next to each variable to make it instance editable, so that when we have multiple TVs in the environment, we can set which video we want to play on each TV. And that's really the whole blueprint set up, so we're actually ready to test now. So I dragged our actor into this 90s bedroom scene I created, and we're going to click play and see what it looks like. So you can see our custom CRT TV actor playing Super Mario 64, one of my favorite games of all time. I also used the same technique to create this really cool fish tank effect in the corner of the room, and we can easily swap out the video on our screen by changing the variables we created earlier. I also made one for Ocarina of Time and Super Mario Bros. For NES. And of course I had to make a horror version, so we've got the cursed videotape from The Ring playing here, and so I originally had a scary video for this, but then I forgot I found this video of Samara throwing it back spooky style, so we're actually just gonna keep this in here. All joking aside, this technique is super powerful and can be used for a bunch of different things. But anyways, that's going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. If you have any cool ideas for how you'd use these techniques, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to see what you come up with. Join our Discord community, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.